All right, welcome. Today, we are going to decode what feels like a secret language, the language of the financial markets. We're talking about candlestick charts, and I promise by the end of this, you'll be able to look at one and read it like a book.
So have you ever looked at a chart packed with all these little red and green bars and just felt completely lost? It can look like a totally random, complicated mess, but what if I told you it's not random at all?
That's right. The best way to think about this is as a story. It's the story of a constant battle between buyers who are trying to push the price up and sellers who are trying to drag it down. And every single one of those little candles, that's a chapter in the story.
So let's kick things off by breaking down how this one simple shape can tell such a crazy detailed story about what's happening in the market.
You know, at its heart, a candlestick is just a visual. It's a way to see an asset's price movement in a specific chunk of time. And that could be anything, 1 minute, 1 hour, or even a whole day.
To actually read the story, we first have to understand the language, right? And that means we got to look at the anatomy of a single candlestick. Let's break it down.
Okay, so every single candlestick is built using just 4 key prices. That's it. You've got the open, the price at the start, the high, the absolute highest it went, the low, the rock bottom price it hit, and finally the close, the price when the time was up.
These 4 points come together to make the candle's shape. Now that thick part in the middle, that's called the body, and it shows you the main event, basically the journey from the opening price to the closing price.
And what about those thin lines sticking out? Those are called wicks, or sometimes shadows. Think of them as telling the tale of the extremes. They show us the absolute highest high and the lowest low that the price hit during that session.
All right, so now we know the basic parts. Let's get to the good stuff. Decoding what the colors and the lengths of these parts actually mean. This is where the story really starts to come alive. The first and most obvious clue is the color. It's super simple, but incredibly powerful. If a candle is green, it means the price closed higher than it opened. The buyers, we call them the bulls, won that round. If it's red, well, the price closed lower than it opened. The sellers, or the bears, were in charge.
And here's the crucial detail. For a green candle, the open is always at the bottom of the body and the close is at the top. For a red one, it's flipped. The open is at the top and the close is at the bottom. You might see some charts use white and black instead of green and red, but don't worry, the idea is exactly the same.
But you know, the story isn't just about who won, it's about how they won. Was it a landslide or a close call? The size of the candle's body tells us all about the intensity of the fight.
So a long body, doesn't matter if it's red or green, shows a really decisive victory. It means there was strong, sustained pressure pushing one way. A short little body, on the other hand, suggests a stalemate, a period where there wasn't much of a price change between the open and the close.
So that's the body covered. But what about those wicks? Oh, they tell a fascinating side story about the struggles that happened during the main event. A long upper wick? That tells us buyers tried to rally and push the price way up, but sellers jumped in and forced it back down before time ran out. A long lower wick tells the opposite tale. Sellers tried to tank the price, but buyers came storming back and pushed it higher. And if you see really short wicks, or none at all, that just screams total domination by one side, from start to finish.
Okay, so we can now read a single candle. Awesome. But the real magic happens when you start seeing these candles form patterns that traders watch for. Patterns that can give you a hint about what might happen next.
Let's look at a classic one, the hammer. You can see what it looks like. It's got this short little body up at the top and a really long lower wick. You'll often see this fella show up after prices have been falling for a while. I mean, this is a perfect example of the story we've been talking about. That long lower wick shows you that the sellers tried to keep pushing the price down. But, and this is the whole point, the buyers came in with some serious force and drove the price all the way back up. It can be a huge signal that the momentum is shifting from sellers over to buyers.
And there are tons of these patterns out there. Another famous one is the doji. It has a teeny tiny body, sometimes no body at all, so it looks kind of like a cross. This one often signals that the market is just undecided. It's a true stalemate where nobody could get the upper hand.
All right, let's zoom out and get the full picture. Where do candlesticks really fit in the grand scheme of things when you're looking at the market?
It's worth remembering that candlestick charts aren't the only way to do this. They show the exact same 4 data points as a classic bar chart. The big difference is that the body of the candlestick makes that relationship between the open and close price pop visually. A lot of people find it way easier to read at a quick glance.
Now, this part is really important. Candlesticks are an amazing tool, but they are not a crystal ball. They show you what happened with the price, but they can't tell you why it happened. They're a snapshot of market psychology, not a guarantee of the future. And you should always, always use them with other kinds of analysis.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. Here's a great way to think about it. Candlesticks don't predict the future. They reveal the psychology of the present. They show you, in vivid detail, the story of the battle between buyers and sellers, as it's happening right now.
So the next time you look at one of these charts, don't just see a bunch of lines. See the story, see the battle, the victories, and the defeats. Now that you know the language, what story is the market going to tell you?